If you've been anywhere near hip-hop Twitter or Instagram lately, you've probably seen the same blurry street clip over and over again. A crowd gathered in Houston, people yelling over car horns, and right in the middle of it all, Floyd Mayweather's daughter, Yaya Lace, throwing punches in a late-night brawl. Caption under most reposts says something like, "Yaya Mayweather fights NBA YoungBoy's wife's sisters." And the internet has not stopped arguing since. On the surface, it just looks like another messy celebrity fight, but there's a lot more going on here than a random street scuffle. This incident pulls in Yaya's past legal problems, her complicated history with NBA YoungBoy, his current wife, Jazlyn, and a whole lot of built-up tension that seems to have spilled out in one chaotic moment. So in this video, we're going to slow everything down, walk through what the footage actually shows, who people say was involved, how we got here, and what this could mean for everyone going forward. First thing to understand is where this all happened. According to multiple reports, the fight went down in Houston, Texas, during what was supposed to be a birthday celebration for Yaya. She was out with her friends, dressed up, enjoying the night, and at some point, the party moved outside onto the street. What started as a regular night out turned into a scene that looked more like a boxing undercard than a birthday. When you watch the clearest versions of the video, you can see multiple groups of women facing off against each other. Voices are raised, hands are flying, and then suddenly, it goes from yelling to swinging. In the middle of the crowd, Yaya appears in a light-colored outfit, surrounded by several women. She's not just standing there. You can see her actively throwing punches and trying to fight back as people grab at her and pull her in different directions. In some clips, she looks outnumbered, taking steps backward while still swinging. In other angles, you see her regain her balance, step forward again, and get her hands up as if she's not ready to back down just yet. It's messy, it's chaotic, and it's exactly the kind of half-clear footage that social media loves to freeze frame and debate. People who only saw the first clips thought she was getting jumped without defending herself. But once better angles came out, it became obvious she was getting her shots in too. Meanwhile, security and bystanders are trying to pull people apart. You can see arms reaching in, trying to separate bodies, and hear people off camera screaming for everyone to calm down. There are cars nearby, people filming from across the street, and at least for a moment, it looks like the entire block is focused on this one explosion between Yaya and the other women. Eventually, the crowd starts to break, and the video ends without any clear view of how the fight officially stops. The big question, of course, is who were the other women? The reason this footage took off so fast is because a lot of blogs and fan pages claim the people on the other side of the fight were the sisters of NBA YoungBoy's wife, Jazlyn. Names like CHY, Asia, and Caliente have been thrown around as the ones who caught up with Yaya that night in Houston. That's why you keep seeing captions that say, "Yaya fights Jazlyn's sisters," instead of just random women. Now, to be accurate, there hasn't been a polished press release or police report where everyone is named and confirmed one by one. What we have is a combination of clips from the fight and separate lives and posts from women who say they were there, explaining their side. In those lives, they talk about the altercation, about Yaya, and about how things allegedly built up over time. That's why most people online have accepted the idea that these were Jazlyn's sisters, even if it hasn't been stamped in an official courtroom document. One thing almost everyone agrees on is that this wasn't a completely random encounter. People close to the situation claim there had been back-and-forth energy online for months. Little jabs, shady posts, rumors, and indirect comments all created a simmering tension between Yaya and people connected to YoungBoy's current wife. So when they finally crossed paths in person, in the middle of a night out, it didn't take much for things to get physical. To really understand why this blew up the way it did, you have to zoom out and look at the history. Yaya Mayweather and NBA YoungBoy have a long, messy, and very public past. They were once in a relationship, and they share a son together. Their ups and downs played out in front of the world, from romantic posts and expensive gifts to arguments, rumors, and explosions on social media. Eventually, YoungBoy moved on and married Jazlyn Michelle. He has children with her as well, and she is the one people now refer to when they say NBA YoungBoy's wife. For a lot of fans, that automatically set up a permanent triangle. Yaya as the ex and mother of one of his kids, Jazlyn as the current wife, and YoungBoy in the middle. Every time any of them posts something slightly emotional, fan pages and blogs connect it back to this dynamic. On top of all that relationship drama, Yaya has her own legal history. Back in 2020, she was involved in a high-profile stabbing incident at YoungBoy's home, where another woman, Lepatera Jacobs, was injured during an argument. Yaya eventually took a plea deal in that case and was sentenced to probation instead of prison time. For years, that stabbing case followed her name in every headline, making Yaya Mayweather and violent altercation a combination people got used to seeing together. That's why this new fight in Houston hit people so hard. For those who remember the stabbing case, this feels like deja vu, another violent situation connected to YoungBoy's world. Another moment where Yaya is in the center of physical conflict, even though this time there are no knives in the footage and no confirmed police report. The pattern is what concerns a lot of people watching from the outside. Right now, it doesn't look like the Houston police have been heavily involved. Reports say there's no documented 911 call or official report linked directly to this altercation. That suggests the fight started and ended on the street, and everyone walked away without law enforcement stepping in afterward. No one has been publicly arrested or charged over what we see in the viral clips. That doesn't necessarily mean it was harmless, but it does mean the situation hasn't turned into a new legal case. At least, not yet. From a legal standpoint, though, the optics are still bad for Yaya. She had only recently finished the probation tied to the stabbing case, and now she's back in headlines for throwing hands in public. Judges and prosecutors pay attention to patterns, and even if this night doesn't end up in court, every viral fight makes it harder to argue that she's fully moved on from her old way of handling conflict. It's the kind of thing that could come up again if she ever faces another legal dispute in the future. Image is another big part of this story. Yaya isn't just any young woman in a street fight. She's the daughter of one of the richest and most famous boxers of all time, Floyd Mayweather Jr. The irony of the undefeated boxing champion's daughter being caught in fight after fight is not lost on the internet. People are making jokes, editing clips, and asking how someone who grew up with that much money, access, and security still ends up scrapping in the middle of Houston streets. At the same time, there are plenty of people defending her. Some say she was outnumbered and had no choice but to swing back once things got physical. Others argue that if you're confronted by multiple people who already have a problem with you, nobody should expect you to walk away calm and quiet. They see her fighting as self-defense, or at least as a natural reaction when you're pushed too far in real life after being taunted online. On the other side, there are critics who think everyone involved looks bad. From their point of view, it doesn't matter who swung first. They see a bunch of adults with children and public careers putting hands on each other in the street and then jumping on live streams to talk about it. For that group, the real issue isn't who won the fight. It's why people with so much to lose are still letting social media drama spill into real-world violence. People believed to be Jazlyn's sisters have also tried to explain their side on live. In their version, they weren't hunting Yaya down, but when words were exchanged and things crossed a certain line, nobody backed down. They claim Yaya plays the victim online while being fully ready to throw hands in person. Of course, those posts are emotional and one-sided. Just like anything else said in the heat of the moment, but they add fuel to the fire and keep the story alive. Jazlyn herself has been much quieter. She hasn't dropped a long statement, gone on a rant, or given a sit-down interview about the fight. That silence has people guessing. Some think she's trying to stay above the drama for the sake of her marriage and her kids. Others think she might be saying plenty behind the scenes, just not online. Either way, her name is all over the captions, even though she isn't the one throwing punches in the video. Then there's NBA YoungBoy, the man at the center of all these connections. So far, he hasn't publicly addressed the situation in detail, which is pretty much his usual approach. With his own legal issues, house arrest history, and massive fan base, the last thing he probably wants is to be pulled into another messy public storyline. But whether he speaks or not, people will always connect this drama back to him, because the only reason these families are tied together is through his relationships and his children. When you look at the bigger picture, this Houston fight says a lot about what happens when co-parenting, new marriages, and old emotions all sit on top of fame and social media. In a normal family, tension between an ex and a current partner's relatives might show up as awkward gatherings, private arguments, or cold shoulders. In this world, it turns into a viral clip with millions of views, reaction videos, and a fresh wave of think pieces about who's messy and who's mature. In this world, it turns into a viral clip with millions of views, reaction videos, and a fresh wave of think pieces about who's messy and who's mature. It also raises serious questions about what all of this means for the kids involved. Yaya and YoungBoy have a son. Jazlyn and YoungBoy have children together. One day, those kids will be old enough to search their parents' names and see brawls, stabbing cases, and long threads of strangers arguing about who did what to who. That doesn't mean their parents don't love them, but it does show how hard it can be to protect children from drama when every move you make becomes content. For Yaya personally, this moment could go a few different ways. She could treat it as just another chaotic blip in her public life and quietly move on, hoping the internet forgets once the next scandal hits. She could address it directly, explain what happened from her point of view, and talk about what she wants her future to look like now that probation is behind her. Or, unfortunately, she could end up in more situations like this if the same patterns and the same circles don't change. For Jazlyn's family, this is also a crossroads. They can keep letting tensions spill out in public lives, subtweets, and parking lot confrontations. Or they can decide that for the sake of their sister and her kids, some battles just aren't worth fighting in front of cameras. Nobody has to become best friends overnight, but at some point, everybody has to decide whether going viral is worth the stress, the bruises, and the constant headlines. At the end of the day, what we really have from that night in Houston is a messy piece of video, a lot of loud opinions, and a reminder that celebrity or not, they wait. They show up when people are tired, emotional, or feeling disrespected. And sometimes they erupt in the middle of a street on what was supposed to be a birthday celebration. Whether you think Yaya was standing up for herself, doing too much, or just repeating old mistakes, one thing is clear. This story is part of a larger pattern in her life and in the culture around her. How she, Jazlyn's family, and even YoungBoy respond from here will decide whether this is just another wild chapter, or the moment everyone finally decides to keep the next round of drama off camera. So now the question is for you. When you look at that clip, do you see a young mother defending herself in a bad situation, or someone who still hasn't learned to walk away before things get physical? And bigger than that, how many times can a situation like this go viral before everyone involved decides that peace is more valuable than proving a point in front of a crowd?